Hey guys, John here. Hey, I have Alex over here with me, of course, my awesome co-host as well, and I also have Abby from Motor City Nerds. And Will couldn't make it today and everything because of the fact that he's uh, because of his work over.
Hi.
Hey, so hello everyone. So how's everyone doing tonight?
Hi.
Here.
And we're off the rails like we always are. So that's good. So basically tonight we're actually going to be talking about Phase 6 of Marvel. This is something that I'm excited to talk about. We were all geeking out, being sweaty over this whole entire thing over at Comic-Con. I wish I was there, but it's hard to get into Hall Henry. That's why I'm calling Hall H Hall Henry. So it's actually hard to get into that. But with further ado, let's go on ahead. I'm going to break this thing down, and then we're going to speculate on what we think that this could actually be for us as fans and how excited we are for it. So, coming off the gate and everything, the Hollywood...
He froze again.
Book that you had.
Got him. Oh, no.
Good, John?
Hold on.
We good?
I think so. Am I still froze?
I
No.
think your sexiness is interfering with the Wi-Fi. It's
That's
just
exactly what it is.
John. Come on, there's people watching. You got to tone down.
I'm sorry,
the
man.
sexiness.
I'm sorry. I cannot tone
Come on.
myself down and everything.
He's
I didn't
too
have this...
hot.
I know, it's getting hot in her. So anyways... But anyways, like I said, I'm going to break this thing down. And basically, I'm going to be talking about Avengers, the Kang Dynasty. And basically, the Hollywood Reporter broke the news, but had no other details about the team-based movie. It's unclear who exactly will be in those films and who will be writing them. And as it starts in Secret Wars, which is releasing 6 months after the Kang Dynasty in 2025, still doesn't have its director. For what it's worth, Joss Whedon directed the first two Avengers films, and Joe and Anthony Russo directed Infinity War and Endgame, showing a pattern of Marvel has yet to confirm the saga. However, Kevin Feige did state that the Russo brothers would not direct Secret Wars, even though the two of them have professed their love for it in the past. Then, Crane also has other MCU projects in the works. He's developing a live-action Wonder Woman series and a Shang-Chi sequel. So that's the news for that part. So what do you guys think about that when you hear it?
I mean, I'm not worried about it because it's Marvel and they've always picked really good people
Right.
to finish off their series. They've always picked good people for the Avengers movies. So I'm not that stressed about not having a director yet announced or anything like that. But I don't know if I'd be telling anybody that. I think I would just lie. I think I would just say, we're not telling you yet, but because that's a huge thing to take on. That's a huge thing to take on. It's not just a solo film, a Avengers film. We got to make it all come together. And that's not easy to do. I feel like it takes a certain special person to take on. I think that's why the Russo brothers do so well, is because they have each other to work off.
Yeah, they can share because they can share each other's stress level, and that way it's not forced on everybody else. So they can actually bounce off each other versus having just one person direct a movie. So that's actually one of the beautiful things about having the Russo brothers, for me, is to have two directors in-house, which I think that you should have two directors. For something as a big project like this, I wouldn't mind the Stranger Things directors and writers coming in.
That was the other one that came to my mind. I was like, oh yeah, and the Duffer brothers. Yep, they can. Yep, that's it's a lot to take on, especially when something is not just as big and expansive as Marvel is, but as popular as it is.
Yeah.
Like that's a big undertaking. That's a big thing to do. Also, I don't know if you guys are Arrested Development fans, but all I want is a tiny cameo from the Bluth family in any of the Russo directed stuff. I would die to see one of the Bluth people in the background just talking or something. It makes me happy. But I don't know. I can't even think of who would be a really great fit off rip to put in that position.
I actually just read that the director of Shang-Chi will be the director of the Kang Dynasty. Destin Daniel Cretton. I hope I'm saying that right.
Yeah, it's okay. I massacre names left, right, and center. I loved Shang-Chi. I loved Shang-Chi. I thought that was so much fun, and it felt like I was not watching Marvel for a minute, and it was a good. I liked the thing that looked like a luck dragon. That was sweet. I'm all for it, and my mom really enjoyed it too. And that's like my gauge of, is this one fun or going to be more of like the super comic people are going to love it or this, but she was like, no, I'm just having a good time. And I really liked that about Shang-Chi, where it was just like fun. It's just fun and over the top and well choreographed. And I really liked it. So I don't mind that as a choice. I think I'm more excited for Kang Dynasty than I am for Secret Wars, which I think is not the major case for most.
See, though, I'm excited for Kang because of the fact of the introduction that we.
Again, the sexiness, John, is just freezing you up. Man,
but
there he goes.
I don't know what you were about to say, John, but I will say this. Jonathan Majors, right? That's his name. He's great. He's fantastic. I love him.
I think he's going to do a great job. I just liked that little blip of him in the Loki series. Just putting his He Who Remains. Like, that was really great.
The Willy Wonka crazy erratic Kang. I really liked him a lot. And I was just thinking that right before I came on was you're going to have to play all these different versions of this character. And I think that must be daunting. But I think he's going to kill it. And I'm really excited to see what he does specifically out of everybody that's coming. I mean, outside of Mahershala Ali and Blade, who I love, but we'll get to that. I think Jonathan Majors is the one I'm excited the most to see because of how much he's going to have to do. And it's probably going to be hard, but I'm excited for it.
Yeah, that's going to be a really cool aspect about the character. I've been thinking like, since it's Kang and he usually has a bunch of different versions of himself. So I'm kind of thinking, because I know he's one of the villains in the third Ant-Man movie. And I was saying like, oh, wow, so he's going to be the main villain in that and in the Kang Dynasty. But then I'm thinking like, oh, that might not be the true Kang. That might be one of the variants.
Right. I was gonna say, we got a bunch of Kangs.
And then that's why will be in the Avengers movie.
See, that's why I'm excited about that, is the fact that we got the introduction of Kang in season 1 of Loki. And because of the fact that he's been around forever. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was actually an enemy of Wakanda at one time. Ooh. And it ties into Wakanda a little bit. Oh. Because you could see where basically whenever they were at war with, well, not them, not Wakanda, but you can tell within the flashbacks of those things of the story that he did fight in different wars. So it makes me think that he might have been around when Wakanda was at war with something.
Oh, that's what I mean. Like, how many different Kangs are we gonna get? Because, like I said, there's I keep calling him Willy Wonka Kang. What is he called, Alex?
He Who Remains.
He Who Remains. Yeah, we have that one, and then anybody with Conqueror in their name is normally pretty freaking awesome. But then it's like, yeah, which one are we gonna get?
Yeah,
this time around, and I think that him going up against Wakanda would be really interesting. That would be really cool. I wonder how much they're gonna put into. And not to get into it too fast, Wakanda Forever. Like, Namor, are you going to drop some? I'm sure there's going to be some kind of Easter egg, but is there going to be a huge Kang Easter egg? Like you said, John, like, I don't know, ruins or something of this guy from back in the day. That would be cool. But I'm really pumped for Kang Dynasty. I really am.
I think it's all with Black Panther. I don't think Kang will have. I'm thinking it's going to be more Doctor Doom in the Black Panther movie as like the real threat in the background, like observing everything. Because following the Kang Dynasty, we got the Secret Wars, and at least in the comics, I believe it's the Secret Wars where Doctor Doom gets these godly powers, and he basically merges all reality together and becomes God Doom. So I'm thinking like he is the true big threat, and he's observing Kang and all this multiverse shenanigans going on, and then when Secret Wars happens, he's going to come out as God Doom. Especially since Fantastic Four is the first. I think I heard correctly. Fantastic Four is the first movie in Phase 6.
I just had a thought after you said that. Now, I told John this. I'm not I don't know everything about Secret Wars comic wise. I don't know everything about we're getting into comic book territory that I don't really know very well. So I'm coming more from a movie aspect of it. So do we think that Kang is going to have beef with Doctor Doom because he's going to be going, he's Mr. Timeline over here doing this, and Doctor Doom gets these godly powers. Don't step on my toes type deal, because I would think that would be really cool. And like I said, I'm just coming from okay, we have these two movies. What would be really cool? Okay, well, Kang gets salty because now you're stepping on his toes because he thought he was the biggest and the baddest. And now Doctor Doom shows up. I'm the biggest and the baddest. I think that would be really cool. I don't know if that happens. I could be making things up in my head. I don't know comics for this. So
they are rivals in the comics, at least from what I remember. They don't like each other because Doctor Doom especially keeps one-upping Kang, and then Kang would one-up Doctor Doom. So they just try to outdo each other.
Well, I remember from the Secret Wars comics and everything too, there's actually an entity called the Beyonder. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, there's also the Battle World, the planet that was created with the Beyonder in a distant galaxy. Remember that this world, and then of course the world was actually stocked with alien weapons and technology. The Beyonder then declares that they are beyond, and slay your enemies, and all that will desire shall be yours. Nothing you dream of is impossible for me to accomplish. So,
a war between heroes and villains, essentially. Yep. And Doctor Doom's the leader of the villains, I think, but he gets the powers of the Beyonder.
See, I'm starting to think like, okay, because X-Men are coming in, and it's like, because we could say certain people are villains and we can say certain people are good guys, but they could do a lot with like in a gladiator situation with bringing, because they have all these characters to bring in. So that would be a really cool way to do it too, is going like, okay, well, we think we're good, we think we're bad. Like it might not be exactly who we think are going to be, you know what I mean? I think that's a really cool idea. But yeah, I'm, like I said, I'm way out of my depth when it comes to Secret Wars comics. So I'm just going off of, this is what I would like to see and or where I would like the character to go. Now I know Kang ends up with Cassie Lang at some point, or I'm making that up. At some point, Cassie Lang and him become, they're together or something at some point, only because I know my one buddy's obsessed with Cassie Lang.
I think with that, it's what's his name? It's part of the Young Avengers, I think. Iron Lad.
Okay.
He eventually grows up to become Kang.
Oh, okay. So it's a different. Okay.
So it's like,
because I didn't know if they were going to tie that in with.
I think that's
with the new Ant-Man, like, and maybe I don't know, but if somehow that
time travel stuff,
time travel, multiverses is happening.
But another thing too is I'm okay if Doom is actually in the background and he's not there when Kang is around. I'm just hoping that he's just observing, because I feel like if you're going to put Dr. Doom in there and stuff like that, it's going to overshadow Kang to the point where I was like, okay, forget Kang. I just want to go see what Dr. Doom is doing. Yeah. So if he's just there, just being the puppeteer per se, and just observing the war that's happening, I'm fine with that. If he's at the end in a credit scene, I'm perfectly fine. But if you're going to put him in there with Kang, it's going to take me out of the film, depending on how they do it. Mm-hmm. I just think that if you're going to do Dr. Doom, he needs to be in a bigger movie. It does not need to be in that. He needs to be in Secret Wars.
Doom does not share the spotlight.
That's what I mean. I think that Kang Dynasty should stay Kang, and then slowly in Secret Wars have them have more of an issue, maybe. But I would like Kang. You're right. I would like Kang Dynasty to strictly be Kang, and maybe a Thanos I'll do it myself thing at the end with Dr. Doom, but not. I want it to be Kang's. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's focus on the other stuff that was dropped, though, too. So, let's see here. The next 2 years of Marvel Cinematic Universe movies and TV shows were fully released, revealed over at San Diego Comic-Con last Saturday, with 3 tantalizing hints about the Fantastic Four and Avengers that lie beyond. Phase 5 of the MCU kicks off with Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, which comes into theirs February 17, 2023. It'll be followed by Disney Plus series Secret Invasions in spring of 2023, before Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 hits theaters on 5th, 2023. Anything that you guys want to get on that?
So Secret Invasion is going to be a series, not a movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a movie series.
Okay. So we got Ant-Man and the Wasp, Secret Invasion, and then what was it? And then Guardians 3. I'm always stoked for Guardians.
Me too.
I think I think that Guardians is the one where we all go, okay, we can take a breath and have some fun. And then there's going to be stuff that go into it and whatever, but we can go like, let's sit back and go, okay, I'm here for the roller coaster ride to have some fun.
Yeah, I'm always ready for some more Guardians. I like James Gunn. I like what he does with his superhero movies. I think he does a better job than Taika Waititi, like mixing the seriousness with the comedy. Like looking at the past two Guardians of the Galaxies, the Suicide Squad movie, Peacemaker, like those are fantastic. They're funny, but like when it's time for it to get serious, it's able to get serious, and I love it. So I'm really excited for Guardians 3. I'm excited for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, just because I just heard that MODOK is going to be in it. Like
I didn't know Bill Murray was going to be in it.
Bill Murray's
Bill Murray sold. Done.
He might be. I'm guessing he's MODOK, because right now they're just saying, "Oh, hey, he's in the movie, but we won't tell you when." And then they also announced MODOK, so I'm just like, "Oh, he's probably MODOK."
And Dio White says, "Have you guys heard the rumors that Hayden Christensen's playing Nova in Guardians of the Galaxy?"
Nova.
I did not hear that Hayden Christensen.
I didn't hear about that.
I did not hear about that, but I'll take it. But I'm going to piggyback off of what Alex said about Taika Waititi. I love Taika Waititi. He's great. But I do have a qualm with the way certain serious things he does very good with, because in the real world, things that are really hard, it sucks, but you got to keep going. And some stuff, he's really good at mixing the humor and the seriousness, but then sometimes he just goes over, with Marvel specifically, he goes over the line too much and makes it too funny, where it's like, no, this is kind of a serious thing, bud. And I get what you're doing, but you're going too far with it. So that's how I felt, especially with Thor: Love and Thunder. I was like, some of this you're doing really well. And then some of it I'm going, this needed to be a bit more serious or sad or whatever. Right. And you should have cut it off at the dialogue 2 sentences ago is all I mean about that. But
you see, with Thor: Love and Thunder, here's the thing. Ragnarok was such a good movie, right? But here's the thing, people forget. Taika didn't write that movie. It was written by somebody else. He only directed that film. So this is Taika doing his tackiness of what he does with his movies. And I understand what he did with Thor Ragnarok. You're covering up pain and sorrow with humor, because that's how people try to handle things, is through jokes, even though they're actually hurting. So that actually worked within that universe. With this one, it was too slapstick, too much on the nose. It just didn't land like it wanted it to. It didn't know if it wanted to be serious or if it wanted to be comedy. And then he tries to do both of them at the same time, and he doesn't do it enough to where the audience can actually take a breather, laugh a little bit, and then get back into the serious tone.
I agree. And that's the thing too, is I don't want to see creativity get taken away from directors. And that's the thing, is like, okay, now we're giving you more leeway because of Thor Ragnarok. And I don't want to see, because of how Thor: Love and Thunder was taken, I don't want to see people get tied down too much more, because we already know that people have to work within parameters. It's Disney, it's Marvel, there's certain things we got to do, certain things we can't do. But I give them a lot of credit for, especially in the series, how far they've been going with it, because that's what I've been saying too. I'm like, eventually, like I was in 9th grade when the first Iron Man came out. So it's like kids younger than me are now getting older too, and they want to see a more serious thing. Not just us want to see it get more serious and stuff. They are too. They're older now too. So I appreciate where they're going, especially with the series on Disney Plus. I think that they've stepped it up. I appreciate that. But yeah, I don't want to see, I don't know. I could feel them going, let's pull the reins in a little bit after Thor: Love and Thunder got the reviews it did. But I didn't hate it. But yeah, let's get back on track.
Okay. So here's the thing, though, too. With Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, we know it's going to be sad because of the fact that it's dealing with a Rocket Raccoon.
I love Rocket.
Dealing with his backstory. It's going to be dealing with his backstory of how he got spliced apart, pulled back together again, even though we didn't see it in Guardians 1. But I liked how they did things in Guardians 1 where they don't give us an origin story to every single character. They mention certain things in talking rather than show it. Now, this time we actually get to see the ramifications and the pain that Rocket actually went through. So that's something that I really like. And of course, we have Del Murray in this thing. We also have what's the villain's name that you mentioned earlier, Alex? That's going to be in it
in the Ant-Man movie.
No,
Guardians.
Oh, and Guardian, the villain in Guardians is supposed to be, I think, Adam Warlock.
And that's something that I'm excited about seeing is Adam Warlock, because they've been teasing this thing forever. He should have showed up when Ego the Living Planet came around. That's whenever he should have been introduced. But I think that someone's going to die at this one. This is going to be the last one. I'm thinking Batista might actually die in this one, sadly, because of all the stuff that's been going on controversial wise. But also, too, I'm also thinking Rocket's not going to make it. You're going to have a bunch of people that's going to die because everyone dies in the third movie.
Yeah, and we can
when it comes down to a saga.
We can count Groot out because he's got a series plus he doesn't die, quote unquote. I mean, he does, but he doesn't. You guys know what I mean. Right. So then we're like, okay, who do we out? And then I don't think it would be as impactful if it was somebody like God, what is Gamora's sister, Nebula?
No,
I don't think I know she's Guardians of the Galaxy, but I just don't think that her death would be as impactful. I think it would have to be one of the mains that we love, and I think you're right. I think it probably will be Batista, even though I do love that character.
Yeah, I just heard that with Batista, he was talking about, he's just like, I'm getting old. It's hard to keep this body up, so this will be my last movie. So I kind of hope they don't. And the same thing with Chris Pratt. I think this is his last movie in the MCU too, and then they're moving on to other stuff. But I'm just like, I hope they don't kill them. Like, I don't need them to get killed off in order for the studio to like write them off. Like, you can just give them a happy ending. Like Drax is like, I'm tired of fighting. I'm just gonna chill out in this little
and I got my revenge. I'm good to go. Yeah,
I got my revenge. I helped save the galaxy multiple times. I'm good. And same thing with Star-Lord. Maybe he and Gamora like finally reconnect, and they.
I will say this, like just from like a working aspect, Chris Pratt nonstop. You're constantly doing stuff, and then Zoe Saldana. She's constantly. I mean, she's got Avatar. You've got Guardians. Like that's. Probably work. I feel bad for Zoe Saldana. I feel like she can't say a word to any interviewer ever about anything. Like, this poor woman. I'm like,
you know what? All you have to do is just go ahead and get the actor who plays Spider-Man, and all you have to do is just get him to go ahead and do spill everything for her, so that way.
Oh yeah, right. Well, speaking of Spider-Man, real quick, I'm hoping that through this Kang Dynasty is how they or Secret Wars or how they, I hope that's how they bring Miles Morales in. Just. Side note, I hope that Miles Morales officially comes into the MCU through all this, which would be really cool to me.
And I hope it's the Miles Morales from the animated movies.
That would
be
somehow
kind of do a Where's Roger Rabbit type of thing, so he appears in the real world animated. Like, I'm down for that. Like,
that would be really, really cool.
But I also wouldn't mind getting the actor that played in Cobra Kai, this last season of Cobra Kai, the one that was getting bullied and everything. I wouldn't mind him being Miles, because I could actually see him being Miles Morales.
Okay, yeah. Yep. Okay, I'm remembering now. He's got the older brother.
Yeah.
And he's telling him and he's like giving him bad advice or something. I can't remember. So I know you're talking about that. Yeah, he would work, because I don't want them to go too old. Because I know a lot of people wanted Donald Glover, and I was like, no, I love Donald Glover as much as the next person. He's great, but that's too old. I want a younger Miles Morales.
Get someone you can develop for a few years as the character, get some years, because Tom Holland is still relatively young, and I like that we're kind of growing up with his version of Spider-Man. He got an apartment. I was so excited for that.
Right.
Speaking of Spider-Man, I heard, I don't know if this is also a rumor, but saw that he was going to return in the Fantastic Four movie, which is a big deal.
Are we tying in Willem Dafoe with that? Oscorp?
I'm not sure. I do know that
I'm just yelling out words at this point. But
I do know that Spider-Man does seek help from Reed Richards when he gets the symbiote. And we know from the end of No Way Home, the symbiote, the piece of this Venom symbiote is somewhere out there looking for him. And he gets the symbiote suit in, I think it was the original Secret Wars comics in like the 70s. That's where he first gets it on the Battle World. So I think so much stuff that ties in.
Right. There's so much.
There's so many pieces, and like it's very overwhelming when I talk to someone who's not into the MCU or anything superhero related about it. They're like,
oh, for sure.
How do you keep up with all of it? I'm like, I don't. I just let it drown me because I love it, you know?
Oh, yeah, believe me. I'm the same way with Westeros. And they're like, what? And I'm like, don't even get me started. No, but I know the MCU is becoming, and I give them a lot of credit because it is becoming a lot more like comic books. It's becoming bigger, connected, and I really like it a lot. And I know that they're setting up Young Avengers. So that's obviously becoming a thing. And that's why I was like, you got to get Miles Morales in here then, because Tom Holland's going to have to, I'm assuming he's going to lead kind of these Young Avengers, and then there's going to have to be a new Spider-Man, quote unquote. So I that's why I really do. I'm like, come on, bring Miles Morales in and give the people what they want. I know every single one of my friends has been wanting Miles Morales for over a decade. They're like, why aren't we getting Miles Morales? And I'm glad that they did it the way they did with Into the Spider-Verse because it's so good. But I want to see live action Miles Morales. And then where were we? Guardians of the Galaxy, Secret Invasion. Secret Invasion is a bunch of Skrulls, right?
Yeah, I thought that was going to be a bigger deal. Like, because just when it's confined in a series, I'm worried because like in the comics, the Secret Invasion was a huge deal. Like everyone was a Skrull.
Well, like even a couple of years ago, people were going nutso about Skrulls. They were like, "Oh, Secret Invasion, Secret Invasion." So I was kind of shocked too when they announced it, and more people weren't talking about it. But John and I were talking before this that we think that Wakanda Forever just overshadowed so much that maybe that's part of it. But people, I know, and I'm excited too for Secret Invasion. But I'm like, there's so much you can do here now. Not only do we have multiverse stuff, time traveling, different dimensions. Now we have lookalikes. We got doppelgangers running around from space. So it's like anybody can be anybody. And it's really cool. And I honestly do think it's kind of smarter for them to do it in long form in a series because that's a lot I think it's for the normies, which nothing against the normies. I love my normies, but I think it's so that they can have a longer time to explain that to them instead of 2 hours.
It is a big thing. As long as it's more than 6 episodes, like I really would love for them to move away from that 6 episode format. Like 8, give me 8 episodes. That's the sweet spot.
Yep, I agree with that too. People keep bringing up that they would like to see Johnny Depp be Dr. Doom, and I'm not opposed. Johnny Depp can do anything. That's all I'm gonna say. Johnny Depp is number one to me, but I don't know if anybody's gonna touch Johnny Depp for a minute.
I think they would though, considering the fact that you have the ruling.
I think we'd all go nuts. I think everybody would support him for sure. But I think just coming outright and going, hey, we're going to give him, I don't know. I could see them being weird about it is all I'm saying. I'm not saying I wouldn't want to see Johnny Depp. I used to throw Johnny Depp a birthday party every year. You drank wine. That was it. We had a cardboard cutout. We got a cake. It's June 9th. It was a big thing. And we did it for like 15 years. I don't know why we did that. But so Johnny Depp can do anything in my eyes. But I just don't know if they'll outright put him as Dr. Doom. But I think, and I will say this, I do think that for a long time, Johnny Depp was just throwing on makeup and calling it a day. And now knowing everything he was going through, it's like, now I kind of see why. But I really think that when he was playing Grindelwald was the first time I saw him with like a spark back in his eye for a character and actually like really going for it. And that's why I was even more upset that he wasn't in Secrets of Dumbledore. But hey, I'm not opposed to him coming to the MCU. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm not either. I don't really feel him as Doom, though. I don't think he's the type of actor that has that presence that Doom requires. I can see him
Yeah.
as a Doctor Strange villain, maybe as Nightmare,
Ooh.
Mephisto. We love
Don't
Ray.
even-
I could see him as like the seductive.
I can see him as Mephisto.
Yeah,
more than
Mephisto would be a
like
good one.
that would be. I feel like that would be better for him.
No, I agree with that. I think Mephisto, Nightmare, you're more of like a suave, debonair villain messing with your mind more than physical fighting. Like
Yeah.
I can for sure. I think Mephisto. Yeah, now that's kind of my dream casting. Now I've been saying this ever since anybody brought up Mephisto. I was like, it's not Mephisto. Stop bringing up Mephisto. It's not Mephisto. And so, but now that you said that, I'm like, oh, now Mephisto. If Mephisto was played by Johnny Depp, that would be sick. I think that would be a really good one for him. I think you're right. I agree with that.
That would be hot. That would be hot. That's literally and metaphorically hot.
I'm gonna throw something at you guys because how about doing like a little gender swap with Nightmare doing Ava Green
Ooh,
as Nightmare?
What's she
Huh?
from
I
again?
can see.
He played in.
See, flip flopped. Just gender wise, I could see that being a
Because
flip flop.
Think of it like this though, because Nightmare can actually be played by man or woman because of the fact that he can transform his body and stuff like that.
He can Pennywise it.
Right, he's
You know?
shape-shifting.
Yeah.
But
Her. Okay.
yeah, I was going to tell you. But yeah, I think that she would actually be pretty neat to actually do a little bit of a gender swap. But I wouldn't mind Johnny Depp as Nightmare or anything like that either. I think Johnny Depp has that level of where you can actually be seductive, where you can do different things with Mephisto. So I would be sold on that,
Yeah.
to be honest. But
I can see Ava Green. I'm looking at pictures of her now. I'm like, no disrespect towards her looks. I'm like, she could be a Nightmare, and I don't mean that in a bad way. You're not a Nightmare.
She's Dark Shadows. I forgot she was in that, and then she was in the Peculiar Children book, whatever. Yep. Okay. Now I'm trying to think of her movie. Very strange. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what was going on there. I just remember everybody really loved that book growing up, and I'm like, whatever, to each their own. But now that I'm visualizing it, I'm like, oh, yeah, no, she'd be good. I like her, but that's a good point. I think that Nightmare could be a character you could gender swap, and people wouldn't go totally. I mean, there are always going to be people going ballistic.
They will anyway.
well,
but it's a
but
deity.
it would work.
Like they can turn them to whatever, so they can be played by whoever. So it doesn't really matter as long as the essence of the character remains the same. Nightmare wants to give people nightmares. Keep that.
There we go.
Here. So the next thing that we have coming out is we actually have Echo in season 2 of Loki. They land on Disney Plus on summer of 2023, with the Marvels coming to theaters on July 28th of 2023. So this is my initial thoughts about Echo. I was excited for Echo because I definitely liked her character within the first setup with her storyline.
Mm-hmm.
But then you see what they do. She kind of takes like a back seat in Hawkeye a little bit, to the point where not really that excited for an Echo TV series or anything.
I feel like they were really hyping that up, like we should be super pumped, and I was like, okay, I cool. I'm happy, but I'm not like, I don't know a ton about this character. I know I love Kingpin. But I'm like, I don't know why I don't every network. I don't understand why they can't just say mini series anymore, or do just a really good mini series with 3-4 episodes. That's it. Make them a little bit longer and call them even 2, like back in the 90s, and do that and just do them really well instead of doing 6, 7, 8 episodes. I'm like, why don't you just do that? But in that way, it's not a movie and it's not a whole full-blown series, but okay. I feel like everybody feels that way about Echo, where we're all like, we're happy, but we're not, nobody's going like, we're counting down to it type deal.
I'm lightweight excited for it. One, because I like the representation of her character,
Yeah.
A deaf actress playing a deaf superhero. That's really cool. Echo is a cool character in the comics. I don't know much about her, but I just know she's a ninja and she's cool, and she has ties to Daredevil. So I think this is like their way of slowly introducing street level heroes that eventually lead to this long Daredevil series that they're planning, which is like we go from 6 episodes and then that's going to be 18, which is glorious.
Oh yeah.
So
no, I'm excited for Daredevil. I'm excited for that Daredevil.
So I think this is like their way of like, okay, we're going to introduce
like little small setups,
and we're going to build up to why she's here, and then to hopefully we get to the Defenders again or heroes.
Now that you say that, I'm like, okay, maybe not title it Echo. She totally deserves to have her own thing, but maybe is Echo going to be the thing where we're introducing tons of street level stuff instead of it just being Echo, is what I'm trying to say. Like, is that what they want this to be? So maybe it should have gotten a different title. Not saying she doesn't deserve her own title, just saying maybe that's why maybe a lot of people don't know who this character is. So they're like, oh, okay, cool. I know some stuff, but whatever. And then it's like, okay, well, if you would have maybe called it something else, I mean, that's obviously that's not my job for a reason, but and like, then maybe people would understand like, oh no, this is going to be tied in with Daredevil and Kingpin and Hawkeye. And it's going to be all of them coming, like, then whatever, watch it blow me out of the water. I'm like, I'm not saying it's going to be bad or anything. I'm just like,
I don't know what they're going to do. Like,
yeah.
Gotta wait and see. Yeah.
But even after you just saying that's how they're going to do this, and it's like, oh, okay. So now, I mean, that excites me more of going, what street level people are we bringing in here?
Well, I'm thinking that we're actually going to get Spider-Man back. I think Spidey's going to be in. You and I were both geeking out over that, Alex, because of the fact that IGN reported the fact that Spider-Man is supposedly going to be in one of the series.
They're going to keep him more a street level hero, which is what he's always been. Like, he will put hands on aliens, but he's primarily of the streets.
Well, him and Daredevil too. I miss him being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah,
and I'm glad to hear that. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's one of the things I like about his character is because he's always viewed as the underdog. Like, oh, you're just the street level Spider-Man. Like, you can't help with this alien invasion. But then he like whoops a bunch of ass of the aliens. So that's one of the things I like about him. So I'm excited for him to get that persona back, especially now that everyone forgot about it, who Peter Parker is.
Yeah.
So that's just who's the Spider-Man guy. You know.
And then what was the other one? We got Echo.
We got Echo, Daredevil.
Okay.
Is there another street level hero? Probably.
There's the Punisher.
Punisher. I just
meant
Punisher. Yeah. Well, even when they canceled the stuff, everybody was going ballistic at my job. And I was like, listen, if Kevin Feige tells you not to move, don't move, because something's going to happen. And that's why, like, I was pushing real hard before the last Spider-Man came out. I was like, no, we're going to need a lawyer. Do you see how much property damage there is? Do you see what's happening? Somebody's going to need a lawyer eventually, and it's going to have to be Daredevil. And I was like, I just really hope they bring him back. And I knew Kevin Feige told essentially everybody from Netflix, just chill for a little bit and I'll let you know, back when that first happened. So I'm really happy that he is getting the opportunity to not only come back to the MCU, but to be this character again. And not just that, but in a whole revamped way, even though the other version was great. Like that's really cool. So I'm really excited for Daredevil. I think everybody should for Daredevil.
That's the one I'm excited for, is Daredevil. And, I am hoping that they'll do something with the Punisher. That's my dream for them to do something.
Speaking of, and I was telling John this, I do think the Wakanda Forever trailer is one of the greatest I've ever seen, but I'll stand by this. I'll stand by this, is that the first season of the Punisher's trailer to One by Metallica was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. That was so cool. And that first season of Punisher is so good and so well done. I really hope they give that another opportunity too. Not just, and I love Luke Cage. I love all that, but I really hope they give the Punisher, I hope they give John Bernthal another shot. I really do.
Great. Yeah. I hope, I'm sure he'll come back. If they brought Charlie Cox back and they're already talking about bringing Jessica Reeder, I think that's her name, back for Jessica Jones. Like, I'm sure all those people will come back.
How crappy is it going to be when they're like, hey, Iron Fist, you're out? Sorry about
Like,
it. Sorry,
we're
but
gonna go a different
he
direction.
might even like agree though. He might just be like, it's okay. It's fine.
He was
I'm
like,
good.
I get it. All right. It wasn't even his fault. That was just
Right. No, that's why I always try to tell people, I'm like, you can't always just get mad at one person on something because several people have input on things.
yeah. I try not to get angry at actors because like they're just doing what they're told.
Right. Now,
It was like,
sometimes
here.
they do dumb things.
Yeah.
But other times it's like, I don't know who was telling you to do what here, but don't do that. I love Luke Cage though. I think Luke Cage is my second favorite after Daredevil. And I don't know. It's him and the Punisher are real close, but I'm blanking on the actor's name right now. But he just is so, you just want to hang out with him. You just want to hang out with him. Like you just want to hang out with Luke Cage and like go to the bar with him. I love that character. I think he's great.
He is fantastic. Mike Coulter.
That's it. Okay. Yeah. And he's great. Like I said, he's just like, I love him. I love him. I really hope he gets another shot at coming into the MCU. I really do.
No.
Watch this all happen in Echo. Watch Echo.
Everyone.
It's the secret. It's the secret thing that's going to sneak everything in on us, and we're all going to go nuts. I don't want to feel like I'm putting down Echo. I'm not. I'm just like, I feel like people weren't like super geeked about it, and I was like, no, it's cool. But then I was like, this is how they get you. And I say this about A Song of Ice and Fire too. I was like, the most boring book is where they stick in all the most important shit. And I hate that. I feel like that's what they're going to do with Echo now. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, you're not really hyping it up that much, but I think you're secretly going to put everybody that we've wanted to see from Netflix maybe back into this series. And then we're all going to go nuts for it. And
going to go crazy.
It's going to be awesome. And then what was the next one? Did we get to Blade yet? Because I think Blade is what I'm most excited about.
Oh, Blade. That's gonna be beautiful. I think they're I know they want to test the waters with rated R material. I think Blade has to be a bit more rated R, especially if they're considering bringing on Anthony Starr from The Boys as Dracula. So I think that's the direction they're going to go with that. Oh, hey, John, once again, sexiness just taking out the internet for you.
Exactly, it is. But we were talking about Blade, right?
Yeah.
Well, I was just thinking, what am I most excited about? And then I was thinking, okay, well, series-wise, Blade. Well, not Blade. Movies-wise, I think I'm most excited to see what they're going to do with Blade. And series-wise, we haven't gotten to it yet, but just personal bias, I'm really excited to see Agatha Coven of Chaos. I love Catherine Hahn as that character. I think she's great. But that's just like not in the overall picture of things I'm stoked for, but like I really want to see what you're going to do with this little nugget over here. But Blade is the movie that I think I'm most excited to see what they're actually going to do with it. But I think you're right. They're going to have to up the ante on the rating. And they are. It's Blade. And if they don't give Wesley Snipes a cameo, I swear to God, I'm going to riot. That man like paid for the comic to keep going for a minute. He was like, I know he lost his mind a little bit on the third movie set, but he really loves his character. And I'm like, man, you guys better at least, even a little, I'll take 10 seconds or 5 seconds of a multiverse situation and being like, this guy's trying to ice skate uphill and just being.
I was just like, about to say that.
So good. It's so good.
I'm and like, whoever wrote that line is a genius.
I agree. And people don't give that movie the credit it deserves of being the first thing under the Marvel banner, for movies. So I'm like, just give Wesley Snipes at least a cameo and I'll be happy.
Yeah.
But what else do we got movie wise? We have after Blade, because we got Loki, we got Ironheart. Those are Captain America 4.
Yes,
I'm really excited for. I think I'm more excited for Captain America 4 than I really think I am. Every time I really think deeper about it, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be good.
That's gonna be crazy. I heard people were joking around talking about like, oh, the villains of that movie is gonna be the NWO from WCW. Like Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash.
Somebody said that. Yeah, somebody posted that to me, and I was like, "Oh my god, ha ha ha!" And I was like,
"I'm like, yes, I I actually want this so badly now. Like,
No,
if we can find a way to get Hulk Hogan and Kevin Nash and RIP Scott Hall, but have them get the super soldier serum and then they just go crazy and try to take over the world. Like, I would love that.
And just have wrestlers take over the MCU and the DCEU. Just John Cena, Batista, everybody's taking over
slowly. But I think, I'm really excited for Sam Wilson to be Captain America, and I think New World Order, like, that sounds. I'm curious if they're gonna have the evil Captain America in it. Like in the comics, there's a variant of Captain America who was a Hydra agent.
Yeah. I really like
Hydra.
He's got a cool suit. I will say that the Hydra Captain America, he's got a cool suit. But I'm just excited for Anthony Mackie to be able to do this. I really am. I'm happy for you. Not just a series, a full-blown Captain America movie. I am. I'm really happy for him. I think it's important. I really do, because I think that not taking anything away from the importance of Black Panther, and like, who am I to say this, but I'm like, to have an American Black man and be Captain America is very important. I feel like in the MCU, I just think it's important. I really do. So I'm stoked personally for Anthony Mackie. I'm like,
he deserves it. He deserves it. His character deserves it. That's one of the things that made me cry in the series. Like when he first flown in through the window with his wings and the red, white, and blue and the shield, I was like,
I bawled like a baby. I bawled like a baby.
Beautiful. And then when they had at the end, when they had the title sequence and they scrubbed away Falcon and put Captain America in the words, I'm like, yes. Oh my
God. I really did. I bawled like a baby through like the last half hour of that final episode. I was like, this is so good. And it's so nice, and I love it. And I was, oh my God. And I think that the nephew who's always like, or grandson who's always like, don't go bother my grandpa. I think he's gonna end up being he's Avenger something. Yeah. And I'm like,
the Patriot. I think.
Yeah, they're setting up something. But I really always like that. I like that. And I don't think Falcon and Winter Soldier gets the credit it deserves. I really don't think it does. I thought it was one of the most important things that the MCU has done. But I'm really excited.
It's more grounded. It's more grounded. It's not going into anything crazy, but that's one of the things I liked about it.
That's my little favorite pocket of the MCU. And some people, I know I love space and everything getting crazy, but that Manchurian Candidate, secret spy, real world little corner of Falcon, Black Widow, Winter Soldier, Captain America, that's my favorite little corner, and I really love it. So I just in general, outside of that, I really do. I don't think Falcon and Winter Soldier got the credit it deserved, but I am pumped for a full blown Captain America 4. And then I'm trying to think what else. I don't know anything about the Marvels. I don't know. I haven't finished Miss Marvel yet, so I'm sorry. Everybody's telling me that they love it. It's super fun. And I'm just like, it's one of those things where every time I keep throwing it on, I'm like, I keep getting busy or distracted. And then I feel like I'm not giving it the eyeballs it deserves. And then I'm like, no, I need to pay attention to this. So I need to finish Miss Marvel. I need to finish Miss Marvel. And then the Marvels that's going to be a full blown movie too, right?
Yeah, that's the sequel. So it's going to be Captain Marvel 2 essentially, but with, her, Kamala Khan's going to be in it. The woman from WandaVision, Monica Rambeau.
I love her.
She was cool. They're all going to be the Marvels.
Well, it was so funny too, because like that was another one that my mom. I didn't realize how much, because back when WandaVision came out was when like we first started the channel, so it's like the videos are terrible. But I can't believe some of the stuff that my mom in the first recap we did. She's like, I'm pretty sure these are shows that Wanda was watching growing up. And I didn't even realize that she said that until like I rewatched it a year later. I'm like, dear God, Mom, you were really spot on. But she was like, no, remember when Sam Jackson tells Monica Rambeau, maybe you can go up there and meet your aunt up there? And I was like, oh yeah. She was like, that's going to happen, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, oh man. So I love her character. I really loved what they did with her in WandaVision. I loved it. And she had, because that was, I know that we have the snap and things like that, but that was so real. Like, of my mom is sick and I'm dealing with somebody who has cancer and this, and then all this happens. And it's just, that's life kind of. It's not the snap, but it's like crazy, but they really did a lot of really good character development with her in the background. And to have her coming back with all of them, I think that's going to be really, really cool. And I can't wait to see her and Carol together. That'll be super fun.
Yeah, that's going
to be. Do you think they're going to have Rogue come in there?
That was one of the things I was thinking, like, how would they introduce some more mutants? That they could be a Rogue-like character. But I also heard, once again, these are all rumors at this point, so I don't know if whatever's true or not. But I also heard they weren't allowed to use any characters from X-Men or Fantastic Four until like some kind of deal is finalized, so they can't appear in anything until 2025. So I'm just like, like I don't want to wait, but like I also don't mind waiting because I feel like everything's kind of packed in.
Yeah, I like having a breather. And then I like when they give us a little bit of breathing room. That's why I feel like that's why things in the early 2000s did as well as they did, was because we didn't have them back to back to back. It was like, okay, we're going to get a Harry Potter, and then we're either going to have to wait a year and a half. I think for the last couple, it was almost 2 years. And so it was like, no, we're geeked. And then it was like Lord of the Rings. There were full years in between those. So it's like, no, I'm not taking anything away from Lord of the Rings. It's great, but we had to. There was breathing room for Star Wars, for all of it. There was breathing room, and now it's just, which I don't mind, but I feel like sometimes some of the things that shouldn't, some of the things that should get more recognition suffer from that. I feel
right. Yeah, that's one of the things that gets me worried about the last two Avengers movies and Phase 6, because they're like 6 months apart. I'm like, no, you need like looking back on the Infinity Saga, like how many years that took before we got to the end. Like, I love this stuff. I'll watch it all day, every day, like no problem. But you know, it's okay if you space it out. Like work on quality, not quantity, and like give me some good content. Because like anytime, like I didn't care for the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness movie. The Thor movie like got on my nerve a bit. So it's just like I don't want to give people that already talk mess about superheroes any more ammunition. Like, that's
true.
Let's make these look good.
Right. No, and that's true. And I feel like, especially with streaming now and having series, it's constant. Like I said, I feel like I can't catch up with Ms. Marvel but I want to give it the attention it deserves. And it's just a lot, and I don't mind it, but yeah, you are right. I don't want to pile on with everything else. And it's like, I'm sorry, but who do you think is keeping the movie industry alive? Like, let's be real. Like, not to keep bringing up Taika Waititi, but it's the reason he signed on for Thor Ragnarok was because he wanted to make Jojo Rabbit. And reading that on paper, it's like, this does not sound like a good idea, bud. What do you mean? You want to have him be an imaginary friend and put it in World War II, and this is wild. And he was like, okay, well, I'll do this movie knowing if I can blow this out of the water, they'll greenlight this. And it's a great movie. And it's like, it's crappy that things like that happen, that people feel they need to do that to be able to make something more that their passion project.
Yeah. And then
I was gonna say,
got a little bit of time left, but what do you think of the Thunderbolts movie at the end?
I was gonna say, I was just about to ask you, is that a series or a movie? It's a movie.
Also a movie.
Okay. I really like that organically, because it can come off. This is what makes me irritated when people go, this is pandering and this is this. And I'm like, there's a very big difference between pandering and something happening. Like, people are dumb. That's all. But I feel like organically with Shang-Chi, with lady from Seinfeld, in Falcon and Winter Soldier, and in
she has a long name. I can't.
Yeah, she's got like it's super long name, and Sharon Carter. I feel like these three women have gotten into these big, huge places of power with the villains. And it organically happened with the 10 Rings. So now I don't know where the 10 Rings is going to go, but whatever, you know what I mean? But it like organically happened that these characters ended up here. And I really like that that's going on too. And really, I think that's really cool. And I was like, oh, we have all these ladies doing things, and they're actually bad guys, not just good guys, which is cool to me. But the Thunderbolts is just going to be like bad Avengers, correct? Like,
yeah, they're essentially like the Suicide Squad of Marvel. You know, just a team of villains that decide to, hey, let's be heroes. Like
U.S. Agent, and I think Thunderbolts is going to be super fun. I think that'll be really, really cool to see, and I think that'll be the one that normies will be like, oh, this will be cool to watch, because we get to see the opposites come at them, and that's always fun to do. It's like what's that Powerpuff Girls episode when the boys show up, and then
Rowdy Rough Boys.
Yeah, the Rowdy Rough Boys. That's a jam like that. That's always super fun to do. So I think that'll be really, really cool. I'm excited for that. And I really love the character's name I can't remember, Lady Hydra, or she's got a bunch of different nicknames, but I think she's great, and she was genuinely cracking me up when she's just like, yeah, okay, I know what I'm doing here, shove it. And I'm like, I think that she's really funny, and I'm assuming that she's gonna have a role in that with Thunderbolt Ross and everything like that. So I'm really excited for that. Yeah, I think I didn't know it was a movie. That might have jumped up in my list of most excited about movies.
Yeah, that's going to be really exciting. I don't know how they're going to deal with Thunderbolt Ross because that actor passed away. So like, will they just recast him, or?
I'd rather just have a recast than don't CGI somebody. I mean, if somebody shot something already and maybe signed off, like the James Dean thing that people were arguing about, like, is that okay to do? And I'm like, I don't know. If I was making something and I signed off on it and was like, hey, if something happens to me, you can do this. Okay. But if you're just full blown making somebody that's passed away, I think that's a little, just recast. Recast. That's how I feel about it. Like, just recast, give him the same haircut, and respect what the actor prior to him did. If you want to put on prosthetics a little bit or something, cool. Okay. But don't full blown CGI the guy. That's just weird to me. I don't know. It's weird to me. It's weird.
It's kind of like you said, unless they signed off on it, like just do it. But
right. Because
sometimes they reach out to family members and family members are like, actually, yeah, that would be cool.
Right. Yeah. And it depends on the person.
Otherwise, just recast.
Right. Yeah. And that's all I can think too is like, yeah, what if your family walks in to see that? And then they're like, well, that's kind of and then you would start involving like contract money, stuff like that. Like, I don't even mean that. I just mean like, this could be just weird. That's all. It would just be a little odd is all. It could be strange. But yeah, I'm pumped and I'm shocked at how much we got and how close D23 is. How much more are we going to get?
Yeah. I'm just thinking like they probably barely scratched the surface with what they showed us. So when D23 comes around, that's going to be wild. Oh, yeah. And I kind of hope they keep a lot of it in the dark still. Just give us those a little crumb, those a couple crumbs.
That's why I didn't think we were going to get anything that big here because I was like, oh no, they'll save some. We'll get a few things, whatever. And I don't think this needs any discussing just because how great it was. And then we got hit with the Wakanda Forever trailer. And it was like, okay, Kevin Feige, I'm sorry. I'm not going to question you ever again because that was great. That was fantastic. And I will
never doubt you.
It stole the show. It stole Comic-Con. It's great. And I get goosebumps just thinking about it.
I honestly was still a little hesitant to get too hyped just because I'm like, all right, all these movies and shows sound amazing, but the last two movies weren't that great. And now I'm just like, are we starting to kind of go on a downslide here? So I trust Black Panther Wakanda Forever to be amazing. Like that, the trailer alone made me cry. Like, so if that comes out and it's actually like really good, then I'll recover quickly. As of right now, I'm just like, all right, this looks cool, but
I trust Ryan Coogler, and I don't think he would allow anything to happen to his story or characters that he wasn't cool with, and I'm all for that. And that was the thing too, is like I didn't forget about Wakanda Forever, but I didn't know it was coming out this soon. And when me and Mom were walking out of Thor: Love and Thunder, the big cutout was there, and I go, that's what I'm most excited for. That's going to be good. And she just goes, yeah, but that's going to be a hard watch. And I was like, yeah. And it's just like, I think we're all going to have that constant little hole in our heart watching it either way. And then it's like on top of everything. I think that, but in like a celebratory way. And you know what I mean? Where it's like, and do you want to know what? Chadwick Boseman deserves a spectacular send off. He does. So I'm excited.
I feel like that whole movie is going to be a send off.
Exactly. And I think it's going to be great. And I was saying this to John, I don't know what you think, but I think that Angela Bassett might put on the suit.
That I would, I was thinking
maybe not for the whole movie, but I think she's going to throw that suit on.
Yeah, I was thinking either Shuri or even Okoye or Nakia. One of those three would get it, but I would not be upset at all if the mama wore the suit. She's like, no, you know what? Just give me the damn suit. I'm gonna handle this. That would be tight.
Right. And I was like, well, one, Angela Bassett can do anything she wants because I love her. But that I was like, okay, in the MCU, as outside of everything that actually is going on, when T'Challa's dad passes, he gets pissed and goes after Bucky in Civil War. Well, now she lost, and I understand also outside of that, she's the only one speaking through the trailer. And so it's like, well, now you lost your husband, you lost your son, and then now maybe you're going to throw the suit on just like T'Challa did when he went after Bucky. And I don't know if this is like one thing that I just kind of wish might happen. And I'm like, oh, that would be really cool to see her just for a little bit until we figure out who's going to take this mantle on.
Right.
She puts on the suit. And I was like, oh, that would be really cool. That would be sick. But yeah, I'm pumped. But I just don't think Wakanda Forever needs any hyping up. It's hype enough as it is.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Any final thoughts you have?
No, I feel bad that we lost John.
Yeah, there was some technical difficulties. Once again, his sexiness just couldn't be contained.
The internet couldn't handle it. But no, yeah, I'm excited for it all. And Comic-Con just ran me into the ground.
Comic-Con, love it.
There's so much other stuff, so I'm just like, geez. But it's always a pleasure talking to you and John, Alex. I love it.
Thank you so much for stopping by. It was great seeing you again, as always. And
for sure.
Thanks to everyone watching our stream today. Please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel to see more. Tomorrow we are doing part 3 of our Godfather little marathon review, so be on the lookout for that. And I'll see y'all next time. Thanks again, Abby.
Oh, no problem.